If you're about to drop nearly $800 on a high-end car stereo, the Alpine iLX-507 is probably on your list. Its slick screen and wireless CarPlay are super tempting. But before you max out your credit card for this 4.6-star rated marvel, you need to hear what almost no one is telling you. I installed this unit, lived with it, and found some serious flaws that could be a deal-breaker for you. Therefore, stick around because this honest review will save you from a very expensive headache. For the best price, click the link in the description. So, the Alpine iLX-507 promises a premium, seamless experience. It has a beautiful 7-inch high-res display, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and a built-in amp. On paper, it's a home run. But here's what surprised me. The reality of daily use is a roller coaster of wow and what the heck moments. Therefore, let's dive into the 3 biggest problems you won't see in the glossy ads. First, let's talk about the star of the show, that screen. It's a 7-inch WXGA display with 1280x720 resolution. It is bright, it is crisp, and menus look fantastic. Playing a high-quality music video via USB is genuinely impressive. It feels premium. However, and this is a massive however, the user interface feels like it was designed by a very talented engineer who has never actually been in a car. It's laggy. Not always, but just often enough to be irritating. You'll go to skip a song and there's this half-second delay, this little stutter, that makes the whole unit feel less premium than it should for $780. It's like a sports car with a slightly sticky gearshift. It works, but the magic is tarnished. Therefore, the initial wow factor of the screen quickly fades into mild frustration. But that's just the warm-up act. The headline feature is wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and when it works, it's glorious. No fumbling with cables, just get in the car and your maps and music are ready to go. This is the future we were promised. But here's the contrarian snapback. The wireless connection can be bizarrely flaky. It doesn't happen every trip, but maybe 1 in 5 drives CarPlay just doesn't connect. Your phone is paired, Bluetooth is on, but the head unit acts like it's never met your iPhone before. The fix? A full restart of the stereo. So you're sitting in your driveway or, worse, at a stoplight, holding down the power button for 10 seconds while the person behind you honks. It's a first-world problem that feels incredibly third-rate. Imagine paying for a smart lock that occasionally forgets your fingerprint. That's the vibe. Therefore, the very feature you're paying a premium for can be the most unreliable part of the system. But wait, it gets better, or should I say louder. Let's discuss sound, because that's kind of the point of a stereo. The iLX-507 has a built-in amplifier pushing 16 watts RMS per channel. For powering standard speakers, it's fine. It gets loud. However, the factory tuning and the built-in sound settings are a real letdown. The EQ feels basic and imprecise. You want to tweak the bass to be punchier without muddying the mids, and it becomes a game of compromises. Compared to some competitors in this price range, the audio lacks depth and clarity out of the box. It sounds good, but for $779.95, you should be hearing great. It's like a master chef using pre-minced garlic. You'll get a decent meal, but you know something's missing. Therefore, if you're an audiophile, you will likely be disappointed and immediately start budgeting for an external amplifier. That's an extra cost they don't mention in the shiny brochure. But we're not done yet with the quirks. Here's a joke for you. Why did the car stereo go to therapy? It had too many connection issues. Okay, back to the problems. The physical design. It has front and rear camera inputs, which is fantastic for adding backup or dash cams. Very cool. But the unit itself is quite deep. I mean, physically deep from the screen to the back of the chassis. In many modern cars with shallow dash openings, this can be a monumental installation headache. It's not a simple plug-and-play for all vehicles. You might need special dash kits, wiring harness adapters, and a degree in mechanical engineering to make it fit without blocking air vents or critical controls. It's a chunky boy. Therefore, unless you're a professional installer or driving a car from the 90s with a cavernous dashboard, be prepared for additional complexity and cost. This isn't a problem with the unit's function, but it's a massive real-world consideration that Alpine glosses over. But let's check in with what other buyers are saying. Scouring the top reviews reveals a telling pattern. Many of the 5-star reviews are from people just out of the box, amazed by the screen and the idea of wireless CarPlay. The 4- and 3-star reviews, the ones written after a month of use, start mentioning the gremlins, the intermittent wireless disconnects, the laggy interface. One reviewer called it finicky, which is the perfect word. Another praised the sound but noted the need for an external amp to really shine. This split in the reviews is the curiosity loop we need to pay attention to. The initial delight versus the long-term gripes. It's the difference between a first date and a marriage. Therefore, the Amazon rating of 4.6 stars is slightly misleading. It averages the initial honeymoon phase while with the later, okay, this is annoying reality. But is it all bad? Of course not. Let's talk about what it does brilliantly. When the wireless CarPlay connects, it's a game changer. The seamless integration, the ability to use Waze or Google Maps on that beautiful screen without a cable snaking across your console, is incredibly convenient. The Bluetooth for hands-free calls is rock solid and clear. The support for high-resolution audio files like FLAC via USB is a pro feature that music lovers will appreciate. And having those camera inputs built in is a huge plus for safety and functionality. It's a powerful, capable unit. Therefore, the iLX-507 is a box of fantastic tech. It's a box of fantastic tech that isn't fully baked. The software needs polish. The audio processing needs more finesse. It's 90% of the way to being legendary, but that last 10% is where your daily frustration lies. So who is this actually for? Here's another joke. What's a car stereo's favorite genre of music? Rap. Because it always needs a new interface. I'm here all week, folks. Seriously, the Alpine iLX-507 is for a very specific person. It's for the tech enthusiast who values wireless connectivity above all else, who is willing to troubleshoot the occasional glitch, and who plans to pair it with an external amplifier and premium speakers from the start. It's a great foundation for a build. However, if you are a set-it-and-forget-it driver who just wants reliable, great-sounding audio without the fuss, this Alpine might drive you Alpine. There are more consistent, if slightly less flashy, options out there. Therefore, your decision comes down to patience versus convenience. But let me wrap this up with a clear resolution. After weeks of testing, my final verdict is this. The Alpine iLX-507 is a flawed gem. Its potential is enormous, but its execution is inconsistent. The wireless connectivity issues and laggy interface are problems you shouldn't have to deal with at this price point. It's like buying a luxury watch that gains 5 minutes a day. The core function is compromised. If you absolutely must have wireless CarPlay and you're a tinkerer, you might tolerate its quirks. But for most people looking for a premium, reliable head unit, I cannot give it a full-throated recommendation. There are better ways to spend $780 for a car audio upgrade. Therefore, do your homework, consider your tolerance for tech quirks, and maybe look at some competing models. And if, after all these warnings, you still want to roll the dice on the Alpine iLX-507, at least get it for the best possible price. For the lowest current price on Amazon, click the link in the description below. That's one thing that won't be a problem.